I'd like to thank, first of all, the Lymphoma Association for inviting me here to talk. It is both an honour and a privilege to be able to speak to you. Everybody stand up. Everybody. Okay, right. Now, shake your hands, wiggle your hands. Okay, shake your feet. Okay, you're allowed, so you stay there, darling, it's fine. No, I understand. Everybody sit down. Stand up. Sit down. Stand up. Okay, turn to the person on your left. And then grab hands. Got hands. Now backwards and forwards like that. Faster! More. Stop. Okay, you can all sit down. Did he do it? He did, you did it. That's how he dances in nightclubs. Okay, so why did we just do that? Okay. Do you feel any different? You do? Aha. Do you feel any better? Do you feel more alert? Do you feel more awake? But anyway, do I feel better? This picture was taken in 2012. I thought it was interesting you mentioned you get a copy of all the slides. I can't wait for you to see some of the ones you're going to get. This was taken in 2012. And this is a run called the General, which Ray he definitely doesn't feel any better, does he? He felt terrible. This is a 10K run carrying a 5 kilo weight around an assault course that I did. Turns out I probably had lymphoma or early stage lymphoma whilst I did this race. And we'll reference back to this. Ironically, Paul and I had to run back down the course to get Ray because we were so worried about him because he was struggling. Okay, so why do you feel better if you do after that little bit of exercise? And why do you generally feel better if you do exercise or activity? I've got a quote for you. It's one of my only quotes, the only bit of reading I'm going to do, okay? Well, directly from cards. It's called by a guy called Leo Widrick, and it's about resetting, okay? If you start exercising, your brain recognizes this as a moment of stress. He definitely found the exercise stressful. As your heart pressure increases, the brain thinks you're either fighting the enemy or fleeing from it. To protect yourself and your brain from stress, you release a protein called BNDF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this has a protective and also reparative element to your memory neurons and acts as a reset switch. That's why we often feel so at ease and like things are clear after exercising. So my point was to try and get you exercise so that my presentation is clear. Very good. Okay. We also have a release of endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, which does affect your mood. Okay. Adrenaline should be in there as well, but that's more fight and flight. Okay, my story and about what I'm going to talk to you about today. So the content is going to be about me, all right? My journey, my lymphoma that I had and all the ups and downs, why exercise in general as a healthy human as well as somebody who's suffering with disease, exercise and cancer, what can he do, what can't he do, again I'll reference a little bit about my story and then some conclusions as well. My name's Andy McNeil, I run a personal training and corporate fitness company in Winchester in Hampshire, which I started in 2009. We do Pilates classes, box exercise classes, we work with the Environment Agency, B&Q's head office, all this kind of stuff. And we did team events, as you could see from the picture of Ray. Just think about that haunted look on his face and whether you'd want to work with my company. Probably a lot of people would say no. In around about 2012, around about that time of the General, I did start to notice certain things were wrong. And that whether it being a fitness instructor or it being a Pilates instructor or just being me, I thought things weren't right. I had a cough that wouldn't go away. I had itchy legs, which the doctor told me it's just an allergic reaction to your mats. So my girlfriend and I got all the mats and cleaned them all. A rash still on my legs and on my back. I had night sweats, which are particularly horrible. I became an adept at like a Formula One style changing of sheets in the middle of the night. But some of you may be aware of what I'm talking about. Yes, a smiling lady at the back, very good. Yeah, people, just put a towel down. I don't want to put a towel down, it's horrible. And I also lost weight, which is great. But it was like, well, I'm not expecting to lose weight, and I monitor my health and my fitness quite a lot. Wasn't expecting to lose weight, and I did. Turns out, wasn't very well, did this event, which is called Hell Runner. Now this is and it is as cold and horrible as it looks. It's a 12-mile run around Longmoor Army Barracks, which is down near Guildford. Okay, this is called the Bog of Doom. It's around about mile 8. Okay, I'm the guy covered in mud in the middle. And the night before this run, My girlfriend nearly took me to A&E. Couldn't breathe, shortness of breath, felt absolutely generally terrible. Got to the event and said to my friends, I said, look, if this was a trial run, we were going out for a training run, I'd have run off this, I'm not going. That reinforces it. That was mile 10. And normally, I've done this event 3 times before, felt fine. I had no chest capacity, felt absolutely dreadful. I had lymphoma. Classic Hodgkin lymphoma, grade 2B. And I went to see Winchester General, where I started my treatment path, and saw Dr. Arnold, hematologist there, which some of you will know, Jenny Arnold, lovely, lovely lady. And she said, unfortunately, this is your diagnosis. And one of the first questions I said is, well, what can I do? Can I keep training? She was like, it's not what a lot of people say. But we'll see how you go. You might be able to, we'll just see how your body reacts to things, all that kind of stuff. So we went through, well, some organisation is probably the best way to put it. From there, went to a pub called the Otter in Otterbourne. You may well know Otterbourne. Very good. Yeah, Jenny has her own seat there, actually. She doesn't want to talk about it. And worked out, right, okay, self-employed, so if I don't work, I don't earn, and I've got to pay my mortgage and my bills, how much do I need to do? Worked it all out, sat there in the beer garden, okay, how much can I do? What classes can I lose? What clients can I lose? And still be able to operate. Did that. Worked out I can schedule rest. So I'd have a client, 2 clients in the morning and a class, then I'd maybe have a little sleep in the afternoon, read my book. But it was diarised and it was scheduled, so it gave me a structure. And thinking back to the way my companies come together is that we had events. That's my dog, by the way, who everyone likes pictures of dogs. Oh, that's Betty. Okay, she's very energetic. You just look it. She's under a table cowering, but I would take her for walks. So that was scheduled as exercise, activity for me. It would get me out and about. Again, this is where you're going to get these pictures. We had a team mentality came about in my first set of treatment, which was for ABVD. I had 6 months of ABVD. It was coined by a dermatologist called Natalia. She was going in to do some surgery on somebody, and she sent me this picture on WhatsApp. And it says, kick lymphoma's ass, that she had placed it onto her forehead. And that became almost a hashtag, like a Twitter feed. And that we had events, so we would do things. This is my 2 daughters and my girlfriend. Okay, so it became something that gave me focus. It also gave my clients focus as well. We did an awful lot of fundraising. This is some maniac having ABVD with kick lymphoma's ass. So what did we do? It gave me a state of mind to be able to sort of deal with my treatment. This is, on reflection, I see this. We had people doing sponsored walks, we had people cycling around the Isle of Wight. We had a team who actually, I think these are them, ran up Mount Snowdon and ran back down. Now this is in the cafe. Anybody here been to Snowdon? Yes, you know there's a cafe at the top, yeah? And you can't see in that picture, got one of the hot Cornish pasties, and we think it was in her top somewhere to try and keep her warm because it was so cold. But we want to kick lymphoma's ass bad. Picture of me from the General from 2012. This was taken in mid-2013, I think. So it gave me a focus. We did Max Fitness versus Golden Common Bowling Club. And some of this stuff was great. It's like, good, it was good to do. But it turns out, anybody remember June 2013? It's unusual in England because it was hot. On that day, it was 40 degrees. And I'd probably first cycle in, so I had 2 chemo sessions. And I was all right for a lot of the day. And then I suddenly started to realise, you know what, I really don't feel it very well. And it's like after your first chemo session, I didn't realise that a third, and I was given this from an oncologist, a third of your tumour mass is destroyed in that first hit. First chemo. So what do I do? Thinking back to what can I do? I've got lymphoma, what can I still keep exercising? Have my first session of chemo. I think, I'll go walk the dog. Oh, we'll go into town, do a bit of shopping, do some shopping. Let's go to cinema as well. Had chemo, went to the cinema. Film was just finishing. I thought, I feel a bit hot. And I'm quite a slim, small chap. Yeah, that was a joke. Good. Film finished. Ironically, it was Man of Steel. Great film. Got to the top of the stairs and thought, I'm going to collapse. I'm going to fall down. I can't do it. All the batteries have been taken out. Everything. All my energy had gone. Turns out I was absolutely wiped, and that my girlfriend had to help me down the stairs, and I did think at the time, oh my God, I can't do 6 months of this, it's going to be absolutely horrendous. But the symptoms changed, and also my attitude to how much exercise and activity I did altered because of that. And it did get better throughout my course of treatment. We had, apart from this, my company was it does, again, a real good picture of my company here. People in pain, people on a space hopper. This was AG Europe contacted my company and asked me to put together a sports day for them. This is the David Beckham Soccer Dome. So on a Thursday night, they said, can you come and do a sports day? Now, when Dr. Arnold had said, you've got lymphoma, and I scheduled my time, they said, okay. And I think this is quite funny looking back. Your treatment's every Wednesday. Lymphoma's on Wednesday. Anybody else experience this? No? And I went, okay, no. I'm coming on Friday. And then when we don't do lymphoma on Friday, I said, well, you're going to try and do me on Friday, because I can work Monday to Thursday, and then I can have Friday chemo, weekend off, maybe rest on Monday, start work Monday, and back. So it gave me still things to do. That's the key point, active, doing stuff. Try and stay normal. I think Churchill said, if you're going through hell, just keep going. Don't stop, don't dwell. And this is my experience. So, did David Beckham Soccer Dome, about 50 or 60 staff on space hoppers, running races, skipping, all that kind of stuff. Had chemo the next day. It was the one time my sister came to sit on chemo with me, and I was on the floor. So this was not a good to do. Yeah, don't be that active before chemotherapy. A lovely photo of me. Not. So, finished November 2013, my BBD. Fortunately, had recurrence. Came back in February 2014. And it did change. So I've been very active through BBD, and you do get a paranoid state being a cancer patient, where I thought, did I do too much? Had I, and I spoke to two oncologists who I respect above all other people. Professor Johnson in Southampton and Dr. Andy Davis, you know very, very well. Awesome blokes. And they said, no, there's nothing you could have done. This is a cellular level stuff. There's nothing you could have done. But it did change my attitude to exercise. I had to stop working. I had salvage chemo, which started in March 2014, last year, which is, anybody had ice chemo here? Yes, yeah. So 4 or 5 days in hospital, infusions for 24 to 36 hours, lots and lots of joy, brilliant. Had that. What always made me laugh is that you would go out in Southampton General, you'll be aware of this, you go out through, they're changing it, there was Burger King and all this kind of stuff in that place, and as a PT, you're like, what's that doing in here? And there's people outside the front of the hospital having cigarettes with things in their arms. I am going to get slapped. Not now, but at some point in the future, because I would go up to them, I wanted to go up to them and say, how bad does it have to get before you stop smoking? We're having this rubbish pumped in us, but I wanted to get up and out. Finished that, had a stem cell harvest, and that was particularly horrible. Sorry if anybody's going to have one, but they're really important. They're really important, okay? They really are, okay? It was over 2 days, 2 million units. Have you had a stem cell harvest? The ladies nodding. You have? Get in there, well done. Wait. 2 million? I did 2 million. 17? I managed 2! Look at the size of me! I feel less of a man! Very good, 17 million, that's amazing. I was told it's because your bone marrow is exhausted, Andy. It's shattered, you've got none left. Are you trying to make me feel better about myself? Yes. Had that, then had beam chemo. Another beam chemo. Yeah. I'm not pulling any punches, don't have beam chemo if you can avoid it, horrible. The last one they go in, last one. Anybody else had beam here? It's like a club, which you'd have had beam, yeah? Horrible. And when you mentioned, we should get badges. We've done beam. Yeah, hashtag you know nothing, you haven't had beam chemo. Yeah. And that's properly neutropenic. We'll come back to that. There is more science to my talk, by the way. It's not just all this sort of, but had beam, all that kind of stuff, and I knew I couldn't stay as active as I was in an isolation room, couldn't get out. One of the funniest things was, two stories I have to share with you. One was the physio coming into my isolation ward, and he must have thought, oh, this is just great. Got a personal trainer having treatment. Come on. And he came in, I've got this little list of exercises. So seen the list of exercises? Brilliant. We'd like you to, Andy, how are you? You good? What we'd like you to do? We'd like you to do some squats. No. We'd like you to do some arm raises. No. Will you jog on the spot? No. I said, I'm not doing anything because I know what my body wants. I know what it'll take. And do you know what? I'm really sorry, I'm not going to do it. And he was crestfallen, the bloke was, oh, I was hoping to get a tick on my box. Also, through Beam, you're allowed to, you have a bit of time off, 3 hours, where they say, right, you can, and you're in an isolation ward, and you'll know Mairead. You saw a picture of Mairead a minute ago on Gilly's slide. She was on the far left, blonde, Irish lady, absolutely fantastic. And she said, right, you can go home. Really, you can go home. Fabulous. And then she turned, but if you get sunburnt and you come back in and you can't have chemo, I can't swear because my daughter's here. And then she said, and also if you go out and you're involved in a party and you get some kind of illness, my God, you'll be in trouble. So I came home and sat on my sofa. It's like that, didn't do anything. Really inactive, okay? But she was absolutely right, because there was considerations around the current state of my body. Why should any of us exercise? I'm going back to a little bit of structure with my talk. Bit of science now. This is the boring bit, apologies. So, why should we exercise? Key benefits of exercise. It normalizes glucose, insulin, and leptin levels by optimizing insulin and leptin receptors. We all know what that means, yeah? I don't know what it means. Well, I do. Okay, leptin is a hormone that controls hunger, feelings of satiety. Really, if you do get a sweet and savoury cycle going on. So you have something sweet and you go, oh, I need some cheese and biscuits. And someone might say, the lady knows. So you have a little, and you go, oh, I really need something sweet. I could maybe have another glass of wine. Or so you do get switches in what you want. Okay, leptin controls that. Insulin, we've all heard of insulin through diabetes, and in a nutshell, as some of the doctors in the room might wince, it's about blood sugar, okay? And what level you have in your body. But what else does exercise do? It releases feel-good endorphins, which we've mentioned at the start, and also, again, when you guys all stood up and jumped around, you feel a little bit more alert, a bit awake. More improved muscle tone from exercising, cardiovascular benefits, clearer, healthier skin, improved sleep patterns, social benefits, the list goes on and on and on. We all know that exercise is good for us. But why exercise whilst being treated or post-treatment for lymphoma or cancer in general? Okay. Is it wise to undergo exercise? I know that at certain points, particularly Beam, you're my reference point now at the back. What's your name? What's your name?
Lena.
Nina? Lena?
Yeah.
Lena?
Yeah.
As in Lena? We could work together! Okay. Now, there's a writer called Gretchen Reynolds, who is, I only need to ask a quick question. Is there any Americans in the room? No. Damn. Apparently, 2/3 of all Americans do no exercise at all. I thought if there was 3 of you, I could see if it was true. So, she talks about the first 20 minutes of activity. This is quite important. From being sedentary, either during or due to treatment, you can become quite sedentary. You don't want to do an awful lot. If you've got chemo ahead as well, which some of you have been more than aware of, you can't do an awful lot. It can't be trusted with the simplest of things. But exercising, do you actually really want to do it? Now, what we talk about with the first 20 minutes. Okay, so first 20 minutes of exercise will bring the most benefits because they bring you prolonged life, reduced disease, improved mood, they increase your blood pressure. This is just immediately. So when you guys all stood up and moved around, you stimulated your body, you activated muscles, you increased your blood flow, you raised your blood pressure, yeah? That's just from moving. If you have a sedentary job, like you're a, what do you do?
I'm nothing now.
You're nothing now? Sorry. If you have a sedentary job, say you're an IT, for example, or something like that, getting up every 20 minutes and making a cup of tea, or go out and walk in the garden, good for you. It will have an immediate impact on your body. But it is difficult if you're going through treatment. Now, Shiv, she had lymphoma, she had ABVD, and for her, she'd been going to the gym, okay? And exercising was a little bit of normality and a little bit of an anchor, she quotes on here, for her, okay? So she kept doing it. She changed the dynamic of it, as in she altered when she went, and she didn't do an awful lot of cardio, or she increased the cardio. Well, which one were we? Yeah, she kept the cardio up at a reasonable level, but she avoided upper body stuff, because as we all know, she was presented in the same place as me. We've actually got matching scars. Has anybody got the lymphoma scar on the neck? We should have a photo at the end. We can all like that. Yeah, and a central line scar. Yeah, what have you called mine? I say it was taking a bullet for some children that were behind me. I had to take, sorry. Centraline, if anybody's debating whether or not to have one, please do, because you get so sick of stuff going in your arms and your veins collapse, you get anxious and your veins shrink. Yeah, so there's somebody digging around in your arm trying to find a line. Get it put in here, brilliant, until you have to go home, then you feel a little bit like an alien. But she had exercise as her anchor for normality. And actually, ironically, when she finished the treatment, she did a 10K run. When I finished 6 months of ABVD, I couldn't run for 10 steps. And when I did BEAM, Lena, yeah, I can maybe walk to the car. Anyway, so considerations around exercising and having had treatment for cancer. Okay, anemia is a B symptom. Some of us will have experienced what anemia and actual fatigue is really like. Trouble with fatigue is you can rest and have a sleep, but you wake up and you're still tired. And it's because at a cellular level, your body's not where it needs to be. Okay? White cell count being low. I have to be aware of your environment. Again, Shiv went to the gym when it was quiet. Okay? She didn't go when it was busy because you don't know what kind of people are going to be in the gyms. People like me. I expected more laughs, to be honest, if I'm honest. Who you exercise with, that's really relevant too, okay? And who you go with, is that person fit and healthy? Interesting, when you're talking about food, yeah, I had loads of clients bring me meals, which was brilliant. I loved it, it was great, as long as I could eat them. My sister, bless her, she came to see me when I was having BEAM chemo, and she said, and I was properly becoming neutropenic now, I've made you might start laughing at this, made you some flapjack, and they've got milled seeds, and they've got raisins and cranberries. Jilly's already laughing. These will be great for you, really good. And I was like, I can't. My mouth somebody's been mixing razor blades in there. And also, it's a neutropenic diet, so I can't have anything with a skin on it, or nuts or anything like that. So, and she was, again, really, so I'll keep them, and I'll have them in 6 months' time. But so what and where, what you're eating and who you're with is different. Now, outdoor exercise. Okay. Right, why outdoors in particular? Okay. Gotlin says in a report recently published in the Environmental Science Technology, it's not that it makes your muscles respond better, but rather your mind does. Okay, it makes you want to work harder. And they actually did a survey to 2 groups of people. And they said, right, well, so this is one group, and this is the other group. And it said, right, you guys are going to go for a walk, an enforced walk for half an hour inside. Okay? 70% of those people were more stressed after the walk than before. These guys are the outdoor guys. You're going to go for a walk outside for half an hour. Okay? 75% of these people felt less stressed, felt better, felt more invigorated, alive, because they'd been made to exercise outside. So the environment that you'd have activity, keyword again, in, is important, not only for a health consideration, but for a mental consideration. Okay, this is all just my opinion. So, what's my main point? Be active. Do things if you've always had a hobby. So you've been bowling, or you go and play tennis, or you have something that is normal, and then you have a diagnosis, or you're in the middle of treatment. Try and stay active. Do something that you want to do. I made it into a team event, kick lymphoma's ass. Yeah, then realised when ice, chemo and BEAM kicked my ass, I had to limit what I did. Okay, so make it relevant to you, but also try and stay active, because you can see it does you good. This was me at the end of BEAM chemo. Yeah, didn't have an awful lot of hair to begin with, had totally no hair there. It has started to come back. I'm waiting for my fringe to come back, but I haven't had one. Well, seriously, you look at the laughter on no fringe, yeah? I haven't had one since 1993, I think. But try and stay active. Try and do stuff. Give yourself other things to focus on, okay? And it's not going out and running a 10K, but try and get out for a walk. If you've got a dog, walk the dog. Got friends who are healthy, friends, and don't be afraid to actually say, do you know what? You've got a cold. It's really nice that you want to come see me, but please don't. The big irony is I'm now training somebody who is a cancer patient, who's had lung cancer, and it's now moved into a secondary cancer in her brain. And I've had to actually ring her up and say, I can't train you today because I got a bit of a cold. And she appreciated that. And I can understand as well, because there'll be certain points where I said to people, I don't want you to come and see me because, you know, you may want to bring me a massive plate of food, but you're ill. And I don't want to get it off you. In conclusion, being active, there's a key word. Not exercise, because when you think about exercise, you probably think about somebody in a gym or on a bike or running a marathon or doing something like that. Being active, doing stuff, okay? Helps fatigue management. It actually helps you generate energy. I could really bore you and tell you what happens at a cellular level when you move, revolving. I was going to ask you, but I won't, because you did say you were nobody. You could do, you could. He looks like an oncologist or a doctor or somebody. Are you a doctor? You're not. You're not? Okay, I'll stop there. It does have cardiovascular benefits. You activate that system, breathing in oxygen. Mental health, again, think about that study. Make these people feel better going out to walk. You know yourself, go out for a walk in the afternoon after Sunday dinner. You feel better. Routine. If any of us are parents and you've had young babies, remember the 3 Bs. Bath, bottle, bed. Yeah? Kid goes to sleep, hopefully. Getting yourself into routine helped me. Doing that structuring in the Otter when I had my diagnosis. Okay, these are my days to exercise. I took control of my chemo. No, I'm not having lymphoma Wednesday. I'm lymphoma Friday. So I can work. Yeah? I took control. I stayed active. Yeah? That was my structure. That was my normality, because that was what I was used to. Those are a little bit of an overview of me, my story, a bit about activity, bit of science, sorry if it was boring, but about activity and exercise. I want to finish on a thought. Now, I was sent this on the last day I came out of hospital, and it reduced me to a quivering, blubbering wreck. And it was sent by a friend of mine who is living in Australia now. And I'll read it out for you if you can't read it. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. One thing is certain. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this particular storm is all about. Thank you very much for your time.